All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Abhishek Kumar. The headlines. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj raises Pulwama terror attack with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi at Wuzhen. Army destroys 5 Pakistan posts in retaliation to cross-border fighting along the LOC in Rajouri and Poonch districts of Jammu Division. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to give away National Youth Parliament Festival 2019 awards in New Delhi today. Supreme Court agrees to hear petitions seeking review of its verdict on Rafale deal in open court. And in cricket, India seek to level the 2-match series as they face Australia in final T20 in Bengaluru this evening. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj raised the recent Pulwama terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir in her bilateral meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi at Wuzhen this morning. In her opening remarks during the meeting held on the sidelines of Russia, India, China RIC Foreign Ministers meeting, Ms. Swaraj said she is visiting China at a time when there is a grief and anger in India. Terming the attack as worst directed against the security forces, the External Affairs Minister said the attack was carried out by Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Pakistan-based and supported terrorist organization.
Terrorist attacks are a grim reminder for the need for all the countries to show zero tolerance to terrorism and take decisive actions against it. Following the Pulwama terrorist attack, instead of taking seriously the calls by international community to act against Jaish-e-Mohammed and other terror groups based in Pakistan, Pakistan denied any knowledge of the attack and outrightly dismissed claims by Jaish-e-Mohammed. In the light of continuing refusal of Pakistan to acknowledge and act against terror groups on its territory, and based on credible information that Jaish-e-Mohammed was planning other attacks in its various parts of India, Government of India decided to take preemptive action.
Mrs. Swaraj also said JEM is banned by the UN and other countries, and the attack is the direct result of the impunity and cover provided to the terror group and its leaders by Pakistan. Ms. Swaraj is also scheduled to meet her Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. India's non-military preemptive airstrike against the biggest terror camp of JEM in Balakot at Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan, the Pulwama terror attack and the listing of JEM chief Masood Azhar as a global terrorist by the UN are expected to figure during the RIC Foreign Ministers meeting scheduled later today. The External Affairs Minister yesterday spoke to foreign ministers of the US, China, Singapore, Bangladesh and Afghanistan on the strike. Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale and other secretaries briefed the foreign envoys, including those of P5 nations, China, France, Russia, UK and US, during the course of the day. The Indian Army destroyed 5 forward posts of Pakistan in a befitting retaliation to fighting from across the border in Rajouri and Poonch districts of Jammu Division last night. A defense spokesperson said Pakistani troops resorted to indiscriminate firing and shelling with heavy caliber weapons in 12 to 15 places in the twin border districts. The Pak troops were also seen firing mortars and missiles from civilian houses using villages as human shield. The spokesperson said the Indian troops retaliated strongly and caused a number of casualties to the Pak army. More from our correspondent.
A number of Pakistan Army personnel were killed and injured while their 5 posts were destroyed across line of control in Sundarbani Planwala sector last evening in retaliatory firing and shelling by the Indian side, while a ranger was killed and 6 others were injured across Kanachak sector on the international border in Jammu district. In view of the heightened tension between India and Pakistan amidst heavy exchange of fire along line of control in Rajouri and Poonch districts, the respective district administrations of the twin districts have ordered closure of all schools within a radius of 5 kilometers from the line of control. R.K. Rana, AR News, Jammu.
Ceasefire violation was also reported in Uri sector of Baramulla district. Security sources said the Indian troops are responding to cross-border shelling in a befitting manner. Meanwhile, Indian Air Force jets continued hovering over Srinagar and Budgam district, maintaining a vigil following their airstrike in Balakot. Australia has demanded that Pakistan take urgent and meaningful action against terrorist groups operating from their soil, including Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. Australia's Foreign Minister Marise Payne said in a statement that Islamabad must do everything possible to implement its own proscription of Jaish-e-Mohammed. A joint military exercise, Sampriti 2019, between India and Bangladesh will be concluded at Tangail in Bangladesh from Saturday. It will be the 8th edition of the exercise, which is hosted alternately by both countries. The Defence Ministry said the 14-day exercise will involve tactical-level operations in a counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism environment under the UN mandate. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will give away the National Youth Parliament Festival 2019 awards in New Delhi today. In his Mann Ki Baat address in December 2017, Mr. Modi had shared his idea of organizing youth parliaments for young people in every district of the country. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Rajouri and Poonch had launched the festival on the 12th of last month to encourage the youth to engage with public issues and understand the common man's point of view. The national level finals of the festival concluded yesterday with the announcement of winners. More from our correspondent.
National Youth Parliament Festival has been jointly organized by National Service Scheme and Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan under the aegis of Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports on the theme of Be the Voice of New India and find solution and contribute to policy. Youth in the age bracket of 18 to 25 years were invited to participate in the district, state and national level youth parliaments. More than 50,000 youth participated through youth parliaments at all levels. 56 final contestants were selected for National Youth Parliament. The best 3 speakers at the National Youth Parliament will be awarded 2 lakh rupees, 1.5 lakh rupees and 1 lakh rupees with a certificate by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Anupam Mishra, AIR News, Delhi.
National E-Governance Awards 2019 will be presented in New Delhi today. An official release said the awards will be presented by Minister of State in Prime Minister's office, Dr. Jitendra Singh, in 6 different categories. The awards are given every year to recognize and promote excellence in implementation of e-governance initiatives. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear in open court the petitions seeking review of its verdict on Rafale fighter jet steel case. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi in a chamber hearing yesterday allowed the petition of former Union Ministers Yashwant Sinha, Arun Shourie and lawyer Prashant Bhushan that the review pleas be heard in open court. The review pleas claimed that the top court had relied upon patently incorrect claims made by the government in an unsigned note given in a sealed cover in the court. In December last year, the Apex Court had dismissed various pleas challenging the Rafale deal, saying that there was no occasion to really doubt the decision-making process, warranting setting aside of the contract. The Supreme Court has transferred the probe into the killing of rationalist M.M. Kalburgi to the Special Investigation Team, SIT, probing the murder of journalist Gauri Lankesh. The decision came after the Karnataka government told the court that there were common links in the 2 cases. During the hearing, the Apex Court yesterday said the SIT probe into Kalburgi's killing will be monitored by the Dharwad bench of the Karnataka High Court. British Prime Minister Theresa May has made a shift in her Brexit strategy. She has offered parliamentarians the chance vote for a delay to the 29th of next month's exit deadline if current deal failed to hear the House of Commons next month. In Parliament yesterday, Ms May announced that the government would table a meaningful vote on the 12th of next month on the final withdrawal agreement reached with the European Union. US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have reached Hanoi in Vietnam for their second summit on denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and ending international sanctions against Pyongyang. The 2 leaders are expected to have an informal dinner today before formal talks begin tomorrow. The U.S. House of Representatives has approved a resolution blocking President Donald Trump from obtaining funding for a border wall with Mexico through his declaration of a national emergency. The resolution, which now goes to the Republican-held Senate, was passed by the Democratic-controlled House yesterday. 245 members, including 13 Republicans, voted in favor of the resolution, while 182 voted against it. The President has threatened to veto the resolution if it passes both the Houses and the Senate, where its prospects are uncertain. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has been re-elected for a second 4-year term. The country's election commission said 76-year-old Buhari defeated his main rival, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, with a margin of around 4 million votes. Abubakar's People's Democratic Party has rejected the result. The polling was marred by a large-scale violence and delay. In cricket, the final T20 international of the two-match series between India and Australia will be played at M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru today. The match will begin at 7 p.m. The men in blue will be looking to save the series as they were beaten by Australia by 3 wickets in a closely fought first game at Visakhapatnam on Sunday. Also, India haven't lost a bilateral T20 series against Australia since January 2008 when they went down in a one-off match at Melbourne. Today's game will be followed by a 5-match ODI series beginning in Hyderabad on Saturday. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Tanvi Taneja.
Thank you, Abhishek. Details of the astounding daredevilry displayed by the Indian Air Force alongside reactions from different quarters and the Apex Court's suggestion on Ayodhya dispute are a couple of stories occupying headline space across dailies today. India strikes back, writes the Asian Age with a subtext. 12 Mirage jets drop 1,000 kg bombs on JEM terror camps across LOC. While the Indian Express headline reads, India strikes terror deep in Pak. The paper adds, India works the hotlines. Australia, France lend their weight. The follow-up action carried out by the NIA post-airstrike by the IAF is noted by the Times of India that writes, NIA raids 7 separatists in terror funding case, adding, hours after Balakot bombing, Pak starts shelling along LOC. Supreme Court pitches for mediation in Ayodhya case, notes the Hindu, further quoting the Supreme Court as saying, give it a try even if there is only 1% chance of success. The Delhi government's push to the education sector in its budget allocation is noticed in the Hindustan Times, which writes, education gets big share in 60,000 crore rupee Delhi state budget. The Hindu, following up on the Rafale issue, writes, Supreme Court to hear Rafale review pleas in open court, adding, petitioners say ruling is erroneous. Writing on Assam government's pay cut policy decision to ensure the well-being of elderlies in the state, the Hindu writes, Assam to cut pay of staff who neglect parents. And finally, how a charger can hijack your laptop. Yes, that's a headline in the Times of India which reports of a study conducted by researchers at the University of Cambridge that says that laptops these days have become vulnerable to hacking by plug-in devices. And with that, it's back to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Tanvi. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj raises Pulwama terror attack with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi at Wuzhen. Army destroys 5 Pakistan posts in retaliation to cross-border firing along the LOC and Rajouri and Poonch districts of Jammu Division. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to give away National Youth Parliament Festival 2019 awards in New Delhi today. Supreme Court agrees to hear petitions seeking review of its verdict on Rafale deal in open court. And in cricket, India seek to level the two-match series as they face Australia in final T20 in Bengaluru this evening. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.nic.in. With that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.